I do know your story, but start from the beginning a little bit, and tell me a little bit, where were you born and raised?
Down in Miami, a little section called Hialeah, which is where all the Cubans tend to migrate to. So we call it Little Cuba.
Okay, what was that like as a kid?
Looking back, it was a weird Hispanic. I've said this on another podcast, and I get like people like, oh, you said this about it, but it's like a ghetto to me.
Yeah,
it's like a hood.
Yeah, sure.
Everywhere you went, no one spoke English, but you would step out, I don't know, 10 miles out, and everyone spoke English. So it was like a nice little just area of just Cubans, Hispanics.
Yeah. Was there a lot of gangs in there, or was that hard to see when you were a kid?
I think it was hard to see. I never saw it, but there was definitely, I saw the corruption. It wasn't really gangs, it was just the MacGyver engineering that neighbors and everybody would do to get around, city laws and things. So
What was your sport in high school? Did you do sports in high school?
I did swimming.
Okay.
And then I was mostly in choir, culinary arts, because you cooked and then it was lunchtime, so you had your food, so I didn't have to spend money on food. But a lot of it was like choir, ensemble, singing, AP classes, some of the more advanced maths and things like that. So
you picked culinary arts so that you could not only you could cook and then eat that food for lunch. Is that what you just said?
Pretty much, but I also wanted to do like Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
Just travel around the world and eat food.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I went to the culinary class to learn. I also have a big brother who just went to college, so he would call my parents like once a week, and he's like, how do you do this? How do you make this? So I was like, let me just learn how to cook, so that when I'm out in the real world, I can feed myself.
Yeah. So you just had a passion for it.
I like to eat.
Yeah. Sure. Sharice is a foodie?
Yeah. Definitely.
Sharice, what's your favorite foods?
Oh gosh, sushi, lasagna.
I gotta make you my lasagna.
So good.
So do you actually enjoy cooking too, though?
No.
Just not the act of cooking, but the exploration of food is good, yeah?
I did a weekend internship with Johnson & Wales, and I called my parents halfway through and told them, like, yo, come get me, this is too much.
Yeah.
It's like 8-hour classes and nonstop.
When did you start doing mixed martial arts?
A little over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I grew up with it. My dad was an amateur boxer. He did fights throughout the U.S. and Boston, Chicago, so we would actually watch Rocky and all the Karate Kids and all those movies growing up. And he had a dojo for a bit, which I would attend. It was a Aikido. So, but then my mom had my sister, and because of Hispanic culture, I stayed home with my mom to help her raise my sister, and the boys went off to the gym.
Did you always want to go to the gym with your dad?
I always wanted to go to the gym. I was always punching, wrestling with my brother. I grew up with 2 older cousins as well, so to me they're like my brothers, because they were always there. We're always wrestling and messing around.
Yeah. So when did you step your first day onto the mats? You said it was about 5 years ago?
Yeah, so 2018.
Yeah. And
April 2018.
What inspired you to get on the mats?
So it's always been in my forte to join martial arts. Like, I spent most of my life focusing on getting my degrees and getting my career set.
Yeah.
So since I did so much focus there and not too much, I said once I get out, I'm gonna go ahead and dedicate more time to martial arts and stuff. So I was dating somebody who did jiu-jitsu, who was actually coming to this academy. He brought me in, and I just never left.
Yeah, and you got obsessed.
I got obsessed.
Yeah. So it was basically something in the back of your mind that you always really wanted to do. You admired people that did it, like your dad and everything like that. And then when the opportunity showed up after you gotten stable with your career, you jumped into it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Jumped in head first.
And so what's the journey been like? What martial arts do you focus on the most?
Mostly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then I throw in some judo and wrestling there when the class is focused on that. At my academy, we also do judo and wrestling, but it's like twice a week.
Okay.
So it's either when I attend the class or when I see the instructor, or I just start wrestling them just for fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about training mixed martial arts and the mixed martial arts?
I'm gonna take Kurtie's response and throwing guys around and submitting them. I work with mostly guys, so I've been in a male-dominated fields in cybersecurity. So for me, it was like a nice relief to leave work, even if they stressed me out, and come take it out on like more guys. I'm very blessed that my gym is like bigger, heavier set dudes as well. So I got like a nice mixture of like, all right, Yesenia, calm down.
Yeah. So you use a lot for therapy too, like not real therapy, but like stress relief and stuff like that. Yeah.
Definitely for therapy, stress relief, confidence, and being able to navigate my career.
That's awesome. Do you think more people should do mixed martial arts, and why?
Yes. I think it grows a different part of your mindset. So really, like when I go to Conquer Quest, at the end of the day, I'm like, I've done worse outside. I've been beat up out the gym. I've done all this. So not to say anything about your Conquer Quest, but like mentally it gives me that resiliency to be like, oh, this isn't that bad. It's okay. Just another, they say that planks, you can sit in planks and it feels forever. That's the same thing about a row. I've been in like the worst pretzel configurations and I've been able to escape or, been able to tap out and get that relief. And
yeah. What has mixed martial arts done for you specifically as a woman?
I get to travel the world by myself and go to multiple places, stay there mostly by myself, walk around different times of the day, respectfully, given, situations like I won't be out super early in the morning. But really gives me the confidence to just feel safe in my own personal bubble and be able to travel to different international countries by myself, spend time and really network without that. It's still there, but not as intense of something might happen. More of like, if something happens, this is my strategy and this is my plan.
Do you think that, do you think the majority of women walk around feeling safe, or will they walk around feeling
terrorized?
Yeah.
They're terrorized. Expand
upon that. Like, I want to hear a little bit about this perspective. So, how do you think the women walk around? Go ahead.
Very fearful. You can see it a lot in their response. So shifting over into the career space, I do a lot of work on giving women their voices. And usually we will do things of, everybody kind of does it, but we'll say, I think, just things that kind of like diminish your voice and your power. And we do that the same way as we're walking around. So we might be walking around, we're like hunched over, or we look scared, or we look like a ball of nerves, and that's usually, when somebody takes the advantage. But if you're walking around like chin up, chest out, looking like, I've literally gotten...
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, resting bitch face. I've literally gotten folks that I don't know compliment me. I guess it's a compliment, be like, you look tough in the street. I've never met them. I'm walking into a Wawa. Some guy opens the door. He's like, you look tough. Let me hold this for you. And I'm like, I just woke up.
But you're right, motherfucker.
Right.
Do you poke him in the chest afterwards? Like,
get it, don't take no shit.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, so what's your mentality with men? Do you prefer men that are also tough, or do you prefer men? Does that matter to you? Because when a tough woman meets a non-tough man, sometimes I've seen that relationship go south, but I'm curious from your perspective, does it matter at all to you if the guy is tough?
I think it depends on the balance of where the toughness is. I do feel that if you can trust your partner to lead and move and have your eyes closed and know that they're going to lead you in the right way, I don't need to step into that space, and it's a relief off my shoulder that I don't have to think about it.
So it's actually comforting if you're with somebody that, like when you're with a guy that can actually lead you through the relationship or whatever it is that you're doing. Right. You can get your guard down. You can let your guard down.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Most definitely. That's the relationship I have with my man is like that. Is I trust the path and the journey we're gonna go.
Yeah.
I'll ask questions because that's just in my nature.
Yeah.
But I know the path we are. We've shared that vision, we've talked about it, and a lot of it goes into that communication piece to making sure that we're both aligned and we're both aware of what's happening, and we're both aware of the timelines too. Because even if we talk about it, but I might be like, well, this is next month, and he's like, oh, it's going to be like in 2 years. There's always making sure that there's clarity, alignment with the vision.
Yeah. So on women, what do you think, Charisse? Do you walk around feeling like the world is a pretty safe place or a pretty dangerous place?
I'm a little bit delusional.
Yeah.
I'm a little delulu. I walk around in this bubble of safety, but the only reason I can walk around in that bubble of safety is because I'm confident within myself, my abilities, and then I have people around me that I know are looking out for my best.
Yeah, me.
It's called Everything's Safe.
I was telling her the other day, I was like, hey, did you lock the door? She's like, I don't know why. And I was like, you think safety is just magic? I'm like, we have to, and like, you're just over here running around aloof, thinking the world is completely safe, and I'm running up behind you, locking stuff, looking over my shoulder, like we're checking the gun, like.
Out by myself, it's a different story.
I'm like, Charisse, it's dangerous out there. Stop.
But I feel like also like in Hispanic culture, I feel like women are also looked upon as you gotta let the men lead. You can't really have a say into like what.
Oh, that's a good point.
What really goes on.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like that's also like why women also Hispanic women also like they tend to like walk around like they really don't have a say into what.
Like a shadow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you experience some of that growing up?
Oh yeah, and then usually, so it can go both ways. When I dated Hispanic men, there was like always that I run this, but my dad always told him like, if you can boss them around, it's not gonna work. So, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? So my dad would sometimes be like, after he meet the guy, he's like, that guy's a bitch. You're gonna like eat him out. I'm like, thanks, Dad. He's like, you need one with, balls, and I'm like, I'm looking.
Yeah. I'm looking. How hard is it to find like a tough guy, one that can assert himself and be, masculine and lead and stuff like that?
I found it very difficult.
Yeah. So
I found mine. I'm like, get that.
Yes, don't leave. You're perfect. Okay. Now, for a woman that's considering, I think that a lot of people get into self-defense after they've had a problem. What's your message to the woman that hasn't encountered a problem yet, but you know that she should get herself into self-defense training? We
always have to think about the different scenarios. Like, you may go through life and nothing is ever going to happen to you, and I wish that for everyone, right? But you really never know what's going to happen, and we jump into this fight. I call it fight, flight, or instincts, right? And one thing that I'm trying to drive into my self-defense is that instinct motion. So really, it's not that it's never gonna happen to me, but when it does happen to me, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to just sit there and be frozen. It's more of just pop, and someone touches me, break the grip, and move away. If someone comes behind me to grab my neck, I don't have to be paying attention. I can be walking forward, and they'll go and grab, and I'm ready to just flip them because I feel the presence. I usually call it like my personal bubble. Yeah. So I feel the presence in my personal bubble because I've drilled it so many different times. I've been blessed and not had, knock on wood, anything happen to me while I'm traveling. But once again, I think it's also because of the way I walk and present myself, but also I'm ready for different situations. I have my frames up. If I'm in a crowded area, I make sure I can create my bubble. Yeah. And maneuver through anything that is gonna change the structure of my bubble. Sure.
This is actually good for both of them to hear, for both of you guys to hear, because I think I don't know, Nicole, are you kind of the same way where you feel like things are just generally safe, but you're delusional? Yeah.
I agree with what she said. It's like, we are so privileged that you forget there really is. It's a crazy world. Yeah. And we don't really see that, but it doesn't mean that it's not there, that it's not waiting for an opportunity. Yeah. So like you said, it is better to just be ready, like instinct.
Yeah. So what do you think? So if you're talking to these two right now, what's your advice to them?
if you're in South Florida, I got gyms. Okay. I got mats in my garage.
There we go. There we
I have
go.
the class, but and it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. You know, there's certain martial arts that really focus on like driving those different instincts from using your legs, and like Muay Thai or judo, like someone in it, you can maneuver around the body to throw them.
Yeah.
But really just getting something. I get a lot of comments like, oh, I'll just pull out my gun or my pepper spray and stuff. But if you haven't drilled that release or taken it out quickly, at that moment you might freeze and forget you even have the gun.
See? She makes fun of me for going through my drills at the house, by grabbing the pistol, grabbing the M4, lock and load, clear, all these stuff. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm practicing just in case. Gotta stay sharp.
Yeah.
Shit. So tell Charisse why she should do some sort of self-defense, and then tell her how much she should do a week. Why should she start doing a little bit of self-defense? Tell her why. You gotta make her aware that she needs it. Why should tell her directly? Be direct.
Well, so you can choke him.
I just feed him something sleepy before bed and smother him.
You can do that too. But listen, to get you to do content like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or you just flip them.
Yeah.
Did you see the guillotine row flip?
Oh no, you missed that one.
You missed that one.
Yeah.
That one's gonna be my favorite.
And tell her why. Tell her why she should do some sort of self-defense.
Well, God forbid, Jeremiah's not there. Or he's traveling, something happens. I have 2 dogs at home too, so they kind of give me that little sense of delusional safety. But you just never know what's going to end up happening. That it's going to build your confidence, it's going to make you want to continue working, it's going to build in that discipline that you need for the rest of your life, for the other pieces of your life in the conquer wheel. And a lot of it's like group and commodity and, getting together with folks and just laughing about and getting a good sweat. Usually we recommend about 3 to 4 times a week doing some kind of martial arts. I would say about 6 hours a week if you want to I usually do 3 2 hours, about that.
Yeah. I like it too from a man's perspective. It's good for women to do self-defense because when I'm away, then I feel more at peace. I mean, I'm not going to feel 100% secure and confident or whatever if you're just at the house by yourself, but I feel better when I know that you know how to use the gun, you know where it's at, you know how to defend yourself. I feel better when I'm away, and it makes me have more confidence when I'm away. So I think from the man's perspective, it's very helpful.
It's something definitely that my man has told me. He's like, I'm not worried about you traveling away. It's like, I'm scared for anybody that's going to mess with you.
There you go.
Like, yeah.
I got the bail money ready, babe.
Yeah. What's something really difficult that you've had to overcome in your life?
I definitely suffered from toxic work environments and domestic violence at the same time. So my job was just a hurricane of toxicity. They were promised me a promotion into a certain position, like kind of baiting the carrot, and then making me work, but I didn't see my value being seen. And then at home was just the Hispanic male, I control the house, but I don't pay any of the bills, taking advantage of the financial. So, because of my,
we're supposed to pay the bills.
Yes. So I got into a weird situation there with that whole financial stuff it's a lesson learned, right?
When you drive around with your man, does he drive or do you drive?
He drives, but I give him the privilege. I like driving.
Yeah.
I like driving. I'm one of those that I've drifted cars, and I told him, I like my e-brake to drift.
Yeah.
I grew up in Miami, so I'm one of the aggressive drivers.
Okay.
Aggressive, defensive, good drivers. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I gotta drive down to the Keys now, so. But yeah, he drives, but he's also a car enthusiast.
Yeah.
So he likes driving, and then for me, it's a time for my car to get inspected.
Well, it's very symbolic of your relationship too. Like, you're very much a leader, but you're comfortable being in the passenger seat and letting him do his thing as well. And that takes strong leadership too, just to be a good follower. So with the hard things that you've overcome, you said domestic violence, and you said horrible work environment. to share a little bit more about how difficult that was. Like, what was it about it that was difficult?
I didn't want to be home and I didn't want to be at work. So whenever I had to go home, I kind of like tried the whole, like I would literally cry on my way to home, to the point where my job was here in Weston, just not far from the gym. So I started volunteering for the kids in 2019, so that from work, I came, coached the kids, trained, and then from there, I was able to go home. And then by the time I go home, it was like late, bedtime, prep, go to bed, and make it as minimum as possible in my time spent there.
Yeah, so it was really stressful.
Yeah.
You know, and it probably felt trapped.
Definitely. Trapped, stuck.
How did you get out of it? So what was and how long did it go on for?
Went on for a good, I didn't start seeing it until, when I started seeing it, it was a good year. But I was so focused on getting my master's degree in digital forensics, buying my house. I was focused on my goals that I just kind of tossed it aside as something I was going to deal with later. And then as I started like accomplishing things and moving in my life, it hurt the male ego, and then it just made that portion a lot worse. But really a lot of the techniques and things that I learned here on the mat was able to lessen what was happening at home.
So basically, when you started doing training, it gave you confidence to part ways with all the things that were holding you back.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. What does it look like? What does a women's self-defense class look like with you?
With me, we usually start with setting some kind of intention for the class. So I let everyone know this is our class, to just have an intention for themselves. Sometimes I'll have sticky notes that they can write it down.
Give me an example.
One was, it was a mom and a daughter that came. So for them, their intention was just a learning mom and daughter activity kind of thing. So their intention is just growing and bonding with one another.
Good.
So we'll start with that. We'll do a light warm-up, usually running around, and then specific warm-up drills to get us ready for the movements that we'll be doing. So that can be like bridges or front rows, back rows, shrimps, hip switches, technical stand-ups, anything to really get the body moving towards what we're about to do. And then we usually drill for specific scenarios. So what we've been working on in the last year has been the scenario where somebody comes aggressively and like pushes you to the ground.
Yeah.
Teaching them how to like fall properly and safely. And then working on keeping them away with their feet, and then bringing them in, and what we're kind of calling our connection progression. So going from bringing them in all the way, hugging them, and then as they're distributing their weight backwards and getting far away from them, capitalizing and continuing keeping our connection so we can capitalize on what we want to do.
Nice, very good. And what are some of the benefits that you've noticed in families that come to your trainings?
I've seen the glow get a lot brighter in them. They've been a lot more confident. They come and they're a lot more excited. I see that change from the start of the class to the end of the class, that they leave here with a lot more of excitement and knowledge that they're capable of doing pretty much anything outside.
What's the biggest excuse people give you, or the most common one that people give you for not coming in the first time?
I think since a lot of it is towards women, we have a thing of taking care of others before we take care of ourselves. So a common one is like, oh, I had kids practice, or I had to go get groceries, or like a family priority came over their personal training. So that's usually the one that I see the most.
What do you say to them?
I ask, which is kind of why we're moving into the Lioness Instincts piece, is getting that instinct in. Lioness are very prone to protecting their families. And if you're not able to protect yourself, it limits the possibility that you're going to be able to defend your family. So if someone, God forbid, picks up your child and walks away, it's common that someone's going to be so hyper-focused on getting their child back, all they're going to be doing is pulling their child, which can end up damaging and hurting them. instead of actually going towards the attacker and trying to release their child from the attacker.
That's good right there. That's a really good reason right there. It's like all you moms at home with kids are making excuses to not come in and train. You're actually putting your child at risk, because if something happens, you're not going to be able to defend yourself. You're not going to know how to think. You're not going to know how to respond, and something's going to happen. So you think you're helping your kid, but you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. A final message to somebody that's on the fence about, and you can just repeat what I said to get yourself going.
Okay. Final message for anyone that's on the fence on self-defense is, you can find a community here of other ladies that are interested in doing the same thing. Go at your pace and, move at your movement, but being able to come in and just start getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is probably the biggest thing. Like I said, whether you use it or not, I would hope nobody ever has to use it, but just having that secondary instinct just ready for you to use it, it's gonna help in other ways. It's a workout, it's therapy, it's time with your ladies. So, we're always talking about going to brunch and things like that, but dancing or yoga, this is just another activity we can also do with our girls. I know with me and the girls on the mats, we have so much fun with it. We're told not to giggle, but it happens anyways.
That's good. All right. And then if somebody wants more information on how to get a hold of you or to sign up for one of your trainings, tell them what to do.
If somebody's looking to get more information in the South Florida area, we're located in Davie, Florida. You can find us myself on Instagram under Cyber. That's Cyber, JIUJITEIRA_BJJ. Maddox Academy is also available on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. But for the classes specifically, we're currently on Eventbrite. Just look up the Maddox Academy Self-Defense and you'll be able to find our schedule there.
Good. Very good. That's good.
Thank you.
Good.